How do we design our program? That question is answered by UML, which stands for Unified Modeling Language. UML diagrams are helpful in the initial phases of software development. It helps visualize interaction of human users with proposed systems, relationships between classes, and interactions among objects. Typical diagrams include use case diagrams, class diagrams, collaboration diagrams, and actually there are more types of diagrams. First, we talked about use case diagrams. A use case basically is narrative that describes steps needed to perform a single action. Use case diagrams translate narratives of use cases into pictorial representation. Let's look at the example on the right side. We have two actors, the guest and receptionist, and we have use case ovals. An actor represents the role that a human or even non-human entity outside the system. There are lines between actors and use case ovals. Such a line represents the association between them. Next, we talked about class diagrams. Class diagrams are used to model the relationships between classes. A class is represented by a rectangle with three parts. The first part is class name, and then we have the attributes, also the type of each attribute, and then finally we have the methods. For each method we have the list of input arguments as well as the type. And also the return type. For visibility, we have the plus sign for public members, the minus sign for private members, and the pound sign for protected members. Talking about relationship ties between classes. Simple association is the simplest type where we have the association between class 1 and class 2. Aggregation is where we have class 2 as part of class 1. The notation for multiplicity means that many instances of class 2 can be associated with one instance of class 1. The unfilled diamond means that if class 1 is destroyed, class 2 still live. So they have separate lifetime. Composition is actually a special case of aggregation, where we have the filled diamond. The filled diamond means that when class 1 is destroyed, then the whole is destroyed. And finally, dependency indicates the dependence, in this case, of class 1 to class 2. On the right side, we have inheritance relationship, in which a class or multiple classes inherit from the superclass. And in such case, we use the arrow with the unfilled arrowhead. The names of the relationships are written in the middle of the association line. For example, a spreadsheet contains cells, and when we read this as a whole with multiplicity, we can see a spreadsheet contains multiple cells. The rows of relationships are written at the ends of an association line. As an example, a cell is associated with an expression. The nature of it is that an expression is a formula of a cell. On the right side of the slide, You have the table for multiplicity. We have the indicator for 0 or 1, only 1, 0 or more, 1 or more, only n, and actually there are more. Now let's look at an example. The class customer may have uh, two attributes, name and address. Each customer may buy 0 or more orders. In the order class, we have attributes such as date and status. They are all private. And we have methods, four methods, and they're all public. Each order is associated with one or more order details. And the role of order detail is line item. In the order detail class, we have two attributes, quantity and type status. They are all private. And there are three public methods. Each order detail actually 0 or more order details are associated with one item. In the class item, there are two attributes, shipping width and description. They are all private, and there are three public methods. Each order is associated with one or more payment, and there is only one private member attribute in payment class. There are three classes, cash, check, and credit. They all inherit from payment. The last types of diagrams that we discuss is collaboration diagram. Collaboration diagrams illustrate the interaction between objects and messages being sent between classes and objects. Collaboration diagrams express the context of the objects using objects and links, and interaction between the objects using messages. And these are primary elements of collaboration diagrams. In a collaboration diagram, objects are rectangles with object signatures. A signature consists of the object name and the object class, and there is a colon in between. The object name starts with lowercase, and this is optional, while the object class starts with uppercase, and this is required. There are two types of objects, supplier objects and client objects. The suppliers supplied the called method, so receive the message, while the clients call the methods on suppliers, so they send messages. Links are the lines between objects that allow to visualize a relationship between objects. A link between an object and another indicates the ability of the object to send a message to the other. A single link can support one or more messages. Exchanging messages is a way to collaborations between objects. Messages are shown as arrows pointing from the client to the supplier. A message from the client shows that the client is calling for an operation on the supplier. Messages are composed of message text prefixed by a sequence number. The numbers here indicate the sending order of the messages. A message may iterate multiple times, and that is represented by the asterisk. Also, the number of times for iterations is used as well. For example, the iterations can be from 1 to 5. A message may run conditionally as well, with the conditional clause in the square brackets. The message is sent only if the condition is met. Messaging can be synchronous or asynchronous. When an object changes its state, for example, when it was initialized with a state and then later on changed to another one. On the message, we can use the stereotypes, which are either form of the double less than and the double greater than notations. Similarly, when an object changes significantly during an iteration, we may add a new instance in between and have a stereotype as a message, indicating that the instance was changed and now becomes a new instance. In an example collaboration diagram, a customer actor requests an appointment. The schedule actor calls the lookup customer on the customer class. The schedule item may ask the customer if the customer wants a new or want to cancel or change the appointment. Then ask for the appointment time. Then later the scheduler item call the appointment class for matching appointments. Then create an appointment.